Moving on now, though, and Canberra was awash with more than just the carbon protesters today. A large group also gathered at Parliament to be out loud and proud about gay marriage. What an utterly terrible idea they think it is.
Imagine marriage, the oldest institution of any kind, created and defined by God Himself, is under attack. There is no greater evil.
Really? I could think of a few. Today, more than 1,000 Conservatives descended on Parliament House, hell-bent on keeping marriage between a man and a woman. They were there to celebrate Marriage Day! No gays allowed. Even Mr Katter got in on the action, albeit in a slightly confusing way.
Gay is one of the most beautiful words in the English language.
Yes, yes it is, Bob.
And nobody has the right to take that word off us.
Oh.
I love Australians.
Just not the gay ones. So here we are again, debating an issue that recent polls show most of us support. In fact, new polling today shows 53% of Aussie Christians think gay people should be allowed to wed. So is this just a vocal minority clinging to the dark ages? And would civilization as we know it really collapse if all Australian love was finally considered equal? Jim Wallace is the head of the Australian Christian Lobby, which supported and took part in today's rally. Jim, you were there today to preserve the sanctity of marriage. If gay people get married, what are you so afraid of?
No, it's not a matter of being afraid of anything. You know, it's a matter of us asking ourselves as a society, what function does marriage serve? And the reality is the function it serves is to reinforce the fact that we as a society hold as important the institutions of motherhood and fatherhood, the act of motherhood and fatherhood and what they mean to a child. The fact that a child who can't be conceived without the action of a mother and a father, or a man and a woman, that we preserve that throughout the nurture and the growth of that child.
Well, I think that's up for debate. But your keynote speaker was an American Conservative commentator, Rebecca Hagelin. She made some pretty outrageous claims. Have a listen to this.
It won't stop at homosexual marriage. Look for polygamy and marriage between adults and children to be legalized. There is no greater dream for a pedophile than to be able to legally acclaim a child as his lover.
This is some pretty outrageous stuff. Ridiculous to suggest that here in Australia we would ever condone that that would ever be legal. Do you stand by inviting someone like that as a guest to speak on your behalf?
Well, I didn't invite her for a start, but she was, I think, illustrating there that there is a slippery slope. And if we look at the fact that during the Gay Mardi Gras this year, polyamorous were complaining to the gay lobby, the gay activists, that they weren't pursuing a broader vision of marriage, which included polyamory. Now, that's just ridiculous.
But that's not what we're talking about. That is not the issue that's on the table. It's not the issue on the table. The suggestion that it's a slippery slope is completely inaccurate. In New York, they've recently passed gay marriage. That no one is calling for polygamy or polyandry over there.
No, excuse me, they are. In the Gay Mardi Gras this year, they were definitely, the polyamorous were calling for it very definitely. So this is a reality. If you vary marriage, if you revise its definition, which is between a man and a woman, then how do you defend other claims on marriage?
Mate, I believe the majority of people would think that the female speaker we just heard from is crazy, to be honest. And there was a Galaxy poll done today where the majority of Australian Christians actually support gay marriage. So you're basically just representing a vocal minority, aren't you?
No, that's not the case at all, mate. I mix with a great majority of evangelical, Catholic and Orthodox people. These are the people who fill your churches on Sundays.
So you're saying the majority of those people lied in that survey? Is that what you're saying? Or?
No, what I'm saying is that if you don't ask people how often they attend church, then the fact that they might indicate they're Christian rather than Muslim or Hindu really doesn't mean much at all. I'm saying to you that the people who fill churches on Sunday, who are the people who are there today in that rally, are people who are concerned that marriage is between a man and a woman, and it stays that way.
Jim, is gay marriage more of a threat to society than the high failure rate of straight marriages?
Well, I think that we need, and this is a very important fact, we need to build marriage. We've seen from the troubles in London over the last few days that it's certainly been identified that the great majority of those people who are out on the streets, who are causing the mayhem, are children who come from fatherless families. And this is consistent with social research in America and in other countries, that you have a very high crime rate amongst people with from fatherless families. Now, what marriage says is that we need parents who commit to marriage to stay together, to take a commitment to each other, to actually bring up this child with the influence of a mother and a father. So I think that the reality is that, yes, you're right, we do need to strengthen marriage. We won't strengthen marriage by changing the definition of it.
Jim, the simple end of this debate is the Prime Minister doesn't support it, so Labor won't support it. Tony Abbott doesn't support it. It's not going to happen. So what are we having the argument about?
The Prime Minister doesn't support it, yes, and neither does Tony Abbott, but this is going to the Labor National Conference at the end of the year, and where it will go after that will depend on what happens in the Labor National Conference. And obviously there's a big push to get Labor to adopt gay marriage as a policy.
Well, obviously it's not the last we've heard of it. Whether it gets up this time or the next, we'll wait and see. Thanks very much for your time.
Yeah, thanks very much.
Yeah, I don't think anyone comes to this debate with malice, but I think some of the things said today just shouldn't be said and aren't welcome in the debate. And one day I think we'll all look back and be a bit ashamed that this debate even took place.
You reckon we might be rallied out? Is that enough rallies for the debate?
People have got too much time on their hands.
We're going to take a break.
Yeah, we'll be back with Kitty Flanagan.